everybody, and welcome to 20 Minutes on Ice, powered by the Garage Door Sports Network. I'm your host, Ryan, and as always, in the co-host position is Nick. We've got a great show coming up for you, and we are live. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button. And if you've downloaded the podcast, thank you. Now let's get right to our opening face-off. Today on 20 Minutes, we're going to be previewing the semi-final series in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Lightning and Islanders, Golden Knights and Canadiens. Plus, we all have the NHL Awards nominees. So we'll be getting into predicting our winners for those awards, just like we did last year when we just started up the podcast. So it's kind of our second annual awards prediction show. Plus, we have Players of the Week and the Randomizer to close out the show. And now a man who would rather be watching Euro 2020 at this moment, Nick McVicker. Nick, how's it going?
Good. And no, I'm good. I watched 3 games today. I am totally fine not doing Euro 2020 at this time of night.
If you had a choice, if the two were on at the same time, are you watching Stanley Cup playoffs, Golden Knights, Canadiens, or whatever the first matchup in Euro is tomorrow?
No, Stanley Cup. Montreal, Vegas. Tomorrow's Portugal, Hungary. Portugal's going to beat them, so it's not even really going to be a fun game. This is at least interesting.
But Hungary is hungry for a victory.
But no.
No. I had to.
No, you didn't have to. You chose to. There's a huge difference, my friend.
Absolutely right. Let's get to the hockey news that's on the docket. How about the Columbus Blue Jackets hiring a new head coach, Brad Larson? He served as an assistant coach under John Tortorella. The first thing that came to my mind when they made this hire is, oh, good, this is not, a continuation of the coaching carousel that goes on in the NHL. What do you think?
Yeah, honestly, I'm a little surprised they didn't go outside of the organization based off of how everything went this year. I thought they might need to get new blood in the room, but maybe it's just because of Tortorella, they think. So I think Larson deserves a shot. I've actually thought that for the last 2 years. He's one of the top assistant coaches in the league. He just hasn't got a shot because of the aforementioned coaching carousel. So yeah, it's worth giving him a shot. Again, I thought they needed to go outside just because of everything that happened this year, where they just lost the room, the coaching staff. Now maybe that was Torts only, but it's hard to really say. So I think he's a good hire. I just don't know if this is the right situation to get his first real shot. So I'm not sold on it, but I hope he does well.
I wonder if Columbus is going to just kind of burn it down and rebuild. I don't know if they can afford that. And maybe that's one of the reasons why they went with Larson, because they couldn't afford a bigger name and they're not in a position for a bigger name at this time. So it'll be interesting. And I would love to see a new coach succeed and enter that coaching carousel. Speaking of the coaching carousel, a guy who keeps getting thrown off of it, Gerard Gallant, finds a new home now.
Well, no, he keeps taking a break. He needs his break on the carousel. That's what he needs. And then he goes and wins a gold medal, right?
Yeah, he's let go in Florida, and then there's the famous picture of him catching a cab home.
That's ridiculous, by the way.
Yeah, Vegas surprisingly let him go. I mean, they're in a great position now, so hard to question that move. Yeah, and he won a gold medal at the IIHF World Championships with a Canadian team that didn't have a gold medal.
It was Canada D.
Canada D, definitely. So, I mean, he's proven his worth wherever he's gone. And now it's time to do it with the New York Rangers, who I think naturally are going to progress upwards this coming season. And I think they just have a really solid guy who can help steer the ship at this point.
Yeah, I think Gallant is one of the best coaches that was available, if not one of the top coaches currently around the NHL or the hockey world, based on what he's been able to do over the last few years with both Vegas and honestly Florida before that too. I thought he was doing a good job in Florida before that. So there's a lot of question marks, in my opinion, in coaching nowadays. Gallant is not one of them, and we saw that at the World Championships where he led Canada D to a gold medal. So more power to you. Welcome back, my friend.
Yeah. So
Speaking like I
I'm
know
very
him,
excited.
obviously.
Very excited to see where the Rangers go. And I was also thinking earlier today, exciting if we could have the Rangers and the Islanders both be playoff teams at the same time. Not
Yeah.
even asking for a playoff matchup, just playoff quality teams,
Yeah,
and
I
that
mean, we
would be
got
a
to see
great.
it. We got to see it this year in the NBA, right? Brooklyn and the Knicks were both playoff teams this year. Now the Knicks kind of bowed out pretty quickly in the first round to the Hawks, but it was it was huge for basketball because that's a mecca, right? New York City is a mecca of sports. You want the teams in New York to be doing well, and let's be honest, for the last few years in hockey, the Islanders have been doing okay. Buffalo, New Jersey, and the Rangers have been not so good.
Yeah,
So I know New
yeah.
Jersey's not New York. Don't jump on me, people. I was using that area. The general area needs to be doing better, and they're not.
I don't even know if New York is aware that Buffalo's part of New York, so we have that going too. This next part you may be able to speak to better than I can because you're more adept at the prospects. But we have Owen Power, who's projected to go number one. He's a defenseman. He also played for Team Canada at the Worlds, but he indicated that he is strongly leaning towards going back to Michigan for school next year. Um, I look at it, I don't know the player because I'm not familiar with the prospects and the guys coming up in the draft, but this is a defenseman, and we've seen it time and time again. Defensemen need more time to develop. I don't care if he will be the number one pick. I'm all for this move. And if he can get an education too, I don't care what kind of education it is. This is all a bonus. So I'm 100% behind this player going back to school.
I have no problem with it. I know a lot of people are going to lose their minds, honestly, um, that the number one overall pick might go back to school. So what? It's not like he's a freshman or a sophomore. Like I think he's a junior. Or no, he might be a sophomore. Let him go back for a year, even if he is the first overall pick. He's gonna probably you probably would have sent him back to junior if he was playing junior anyway. Michigan's a
Because
top team. They're gonna get lots of games. They're gonna go deep in the Frozen Four tournament to get, or if they get to the Frozen Four tournament, they're gonna go deep. He's guaranteed to get games against college-sized players.
would this scare Buffalo off taking him first overall? I mean, I look at Seattle; they can wait. I mean, they'll be fine. But Buffalo has a ton of pressure on them to succeed and turn things around quickly.
I don't know, just because he looks like he's that much better than everyone else in the draft. Like he is the legitimate number one. It might be hard not to take him, even if he says he's going to stay a year in Michigan. And let's be honest, Buffalo's not going to be good next year anyway.
They want to be.
They want to.
They want it.
That's two very different things, Ryan. I said they won't be. They want to be is very true as well. You just
They may
changed that
try and
second
make
letter.
they may try and make some moves. So that'll be interesting. Something to watch in the offseason there. Where does Buffalo go? What kind of moves they make to show the direction that that franchise is going in? And do we have some sort of Jack Eichel maneuver there as well? So it'll be really
Yeah, that
interesting.
could be interesting
Nick,
for sure.
now let's get in to our Stanley Cup semifinals preview. We're going to start with the Lightning Islanders series.
Yeah, we are.
This one is going to be, it's already been exciting. It reminds me a bit of a low profile, kind of a poor man's Vegas, Colorado series. You have two excellent teams here and they're clashing head to head. You have the defensive team structure of the New York Islanders going up against the offensive team structure of the Tampa Bay Lightning. We've already seen game one. It was a 2-1 win by the Islanders, and you can't say, oh, the Islanders squeaked that one out. They earned that win against Tampa Bay. So I am very excited for this series.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and Tampa needs to figure out how to deal with the four-line running of the Islanders, because honestly, they looked really good in game one, and I I was surprised how impressed I was with the Islanders game one system. They pulled out all the stops and all four lines were rolling. And can we also make a joke at the fact that Leo Komarov is playing on the top line for a Stanley Cup semi-final team? Uncle
I
Leo
think
is
the
a
league,
Stanley Cup semi-finalist on a top line. How is that possible?
when he played for Leafs, he just does his job.
He
I
does his
mean,
job. No, I get that. But his job is a third line job. Like, that is his job. He was a third line player on the Leafs playing second line minutes because they didn't actually have a third line.
you do whatever you have to do to keep your lineup rolling and to win the game. So if that is what's happening right now, and that's how the Islanders are going to win this series. It's that entire team system, offense, defense. They got to keep this goaltending thing going with Varlamov. I talked about this last week, where I didn't believe a platoon system can be successful going forward. So I think Varlamov seems he's grabbed the net at this time. He's got to hold on to it, and then the Islanders have now proven to themselves in game one that they can shut down the Tampa Bay Lightning. They limited the Lightning to one goal. So as a team they can do that, and that is how they're going to win this series.
Absolutely. And that was a game plan before they even went into the first game was okay, you're going to listen, you're going to not listen, you're going to watch how they play the first 5 minutes and we're going to match them. Whichever line of ours is playing the best, you're probably going up against Stamkos Kucherov. Whatever line's playing second best, which was in that case it was the Barzal line, you're going up against their second line. We don't really care if you guys put too many goals in because we need one or two at this point, the way we're playing defensively. And that's what they did in game one. They got 2 goals and just said, hey, we trust that Varlamov is going to save everything but one. And now the Islanders are the first team ever to have both goaltenders win 4 straight games in the same playoff.
Wow.
Which is
I didn't see
ridiculous.
that
That's a
stat.
ridiculous stat. That's just stupid. But the tandem's working, and they're going to roll with Varlamov until he slips up significantly. And then they have no problem going back with Sorokin. That's the beauty of it. They really don't care who's in net anymore because the system in front is good enough to compete with anybody in the league, Ryan.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but for Tampa Bay to win, Vasilevsky's going to have to be all world and beat Varlamov at the goaltending position.
Yeah, who'd have thought, eh?
I know. I did not say.
And to be fair, he has been all world. He looked great in game one. I think he had one bad goal. I will admit that. But he looked really good the rest of the game. And after that bad goal, he looked locked in. The problem is that the team in front of him needs to figure out how to get around the Islanders system. And they could not figure it out in game one. They had no shot at figuring it out in game one.
This is what happens with good teams. I believe it happened in the Colorado Vegas series, but when you have good teams, how good they are can make the other teams look bad. And I think it happened in the Colorado Vegas series. How good Vegas is made Colorado look less than they were, but Colorado was trying. Colorado was trying to execute.
Colorado looked scared in game 3 and 4. That was the problem to me. And then they felt like they had to play catch up in game 5 and 6. And I think they did a much better job in game 5 of doing that. But it was just not enough. If they had won game 5, we probably are talking about Colorado in this round over Vegas. But because they couldn't pull out that win, and they should have. Let's not forget, they were up going into the third period. They should have pulled off that win. Because they didn't, it was a backbreaker, and I knew they were done that moment.
That's what good teams can do.
Absolutely.
Other teams, including good teams. And so that's what the Islanders need to do here to the Lightning to win this series. Nick, who do you have in this series and how many games?
I think the easy answer is the Lightning because we just assume that they're that much better. But Ryan, I'm going off the board here. And it kind of makes me feel really sick because I think the Lightning should win. Like, logically in my head, I said it on Saturday on Garage Door Sports. The Lightning are going to win in 6. I'm not confident in that anymore, and it's 2 days later. That's wrong, but the Islanders have a great system, so I actually am going to switch my answer. Keep the number of games, 6 games, but I'm going Islanders in 6 because that's 3 home games that they would get. They've already won 1 on the road. They don't need to win another one on the road to win it in 6. So I'm going Islanders in 6, Rye.
It's a good pick, Nick. I'm going Islanders in 7. I'm surprised you actually chose the Islanders. And
Me too.
just Tampa is the defending Cup champions, so they have that going for them. But the Islanders just have so much confidence. They knocked off Boston, and it almost looked like it wasn't easy, but it almost looked like it was expected at some point in that series. And the Islanders are just shutting down teams, taking pride in it. They can score goals if they need to. I mean, I believe I saw a stat. I think they had the most goals for going into the third round of any of the 4 teams. I might be wrong there, but they're not concerned about scoring goals. They're not concerned about their goalie stopping pucks because he's doing it right now. And the team will just continue to take pride in shutting down the other team. I love the point that you made, Nick, about the Islanders can just win all their home games now.
And by the way, I wouldn't, if I'm any team right now still in the playoffs, that is the last place I want to go, is Nassau Coliseum. That place is bumping. Every game, that place is bumping. I would be terrified to have to go into that barn.
If you're scared of a little fan noise, it is.
No. I mean, it's physically shaking. That's what I mean, Ryan. That place is so old. I'm worried it's going to come down because of how much it's bumping.
You got to use that energy. I'm sure the players do. And even if it's negative energy, and turn it into positive. So we both have the Islanders. You have them in 6. I'm going to say Islanders in 7 because now they have 6 games remaining to grind out 3 wins. And I can definitely see the Islanders doing that to the Tampa Bay Lightning at this pace. So we both have the Islanders. I did take my pick or write my pick down before the first game. And so the first game just made me feel more confident about
I'll admit I flipped after watching that. I didn't think the Islanders were going to look that good in game 1, and the way they played has completely changed my mind. That's saying a lot. I know it's one game. I know it's one game, but it did that for me. So I'm gonna flip.
We are going to take a quick break and preview the other semifinal series, Vegas and Montreal, coming right up after this.
Hey everyone, this is Irfan Manji from Touchline Thoughts. We are an all-soccer podcast hosted by yours truly with guests every episode. We provide news, analysis, and opinions every episode as well. Touchline Thoughts is powered by the Garage Door Sports Network, and you can listen to us on your favorite podcatcher. Cheers.
We're back on 20 Minutes on Ice. As I promised, we are now going to be previewing the Vegas Golden Knights Montreal Canadiens series. They're actually playing as we are recording right now. I don't have the score in front of me, so I can't provide you live from the sports desk the score update. But
1-0 Vegas with 2:51 left to go in the first period. Ryan,
Golden Knights, way to go, putting one on the board. That's how
I got you, man.
All right, well, Vegas is up 1-0. How do they win this series, Nick?
They beat Vegas. They do what they did to Colorado. You play as physical as you did against Colorado, because that's what got them there. The Canadiens are a more physical team. I'm not going to deny that fact. Colorado is not a physical team. Don't ever say that they are, because they're not, and that's fine. That's not who they've been trying to be. You just play them tough. You play them, and you get shots on Carey Price with traffic in front. I think if the Vegas Golden Knights are really going to succeed, they need to put traffic in front of the net, because if Carey Price can see the puck from anywhere, he's saving it. He's that good of a goaltender. It's the same with Marc-Andre Fleury. If he's seeing, well, except for the Brandon Saad goal. But if they're seeing the puck, they're 99.9% of the time, they're going to save the puck. So just get bodies in front of Carey Price, and you've seen it in the Leaf series when they got bodies in front of him. He wasn't as good in the first few games. When they got bodies in front of him, well, Winnipeg never got bodies in front of him, and you saw what happened there, right? Get bodies in front of him, make him try to look through legs, look through people, because he can't do it very well right now, and that's the only way that the Vegas Golden Knights are going to shut down Carey Price. I'm not worried about Montreal scoring, but if they get 1 or 2 and Carey Price makes, 150 saves in a game, you're losing the game anyway.
I think Vegas needs to use their talent and jump on the Canadiens early in every single opportunity where you can think of jumping on that team early. You have to eliminate any belief in Montreal's heads that they are in the series.
Yeah.
And you have to make a hole and let in that outside noise where everyone's saying Montreal doesn't have a chance. Vegas has to create a situation where they use their talent where Montreal starts to think maybe we can't skate with these guys. Maybe we don't belong here. Maybe the North was a weak division. Maybe Vegas is going to roll over us. And once you do that, you're going to eliminate their will to compete. And that is how Vegas can make this a cakewalk. But Montreal's a good team. They're there for a reason. They've played a way that has made them successful. They're 8-3 in the playoffs up until game one here. So they have confidence and they believe in themselves coming into this game, and they know what they want to do and what they need to do to win. They can win that way, but Vegas needs to shut them down and take away their belief. So as far as Montreal, I think I pretty much just said what they need to do as far as I'm
Well, that's why
concerned.
the graphic changed. All of a sudden, you were talking Montreal, and the graphic's different now. What is that about?
More of the same from Montreal. Shut it down. Keep it to the outside. Don't let Vegas get any kind of momentum or speed through the neutral zone. Capitalize off your chances on the rush, and Carey Price continue to be the way he is. And then Montreal has a chance of winning this series if they can do that.
I think the big thing for me for Montreal is just obviously keep doing what you're doing because you've done a great job in the playoffs so far. This is a playoff built team. Let's not deny it, right? What they need really is they need Suzuki, Caulfield, Kotkaniemi, those young, fast guys to be super fast this series. Because Vegas is a quick team, but they're big. So if you could try to beat them with just by a little bit of speed, you're going to force them into taking penalties. And we saw that the Montreal Canadiens power play has slowly throughout the playoffs started to get better and better. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because they're starting to gel more because they didn't play together all year. Now they're playing together. Now they're getting chances. So give yourself the opportunity. So use your speed to draw penalties. I think is a huge key for Montreal. I know Vegas has a pretty good penalty kill. I'm not going to deny that fact. But you try to utilize your strength against a team that is big and you might be able to catch with a couple quick steps.
As far as predictions for the series, I got Vegas in the series. Because I hate the Canadiens, so screw you. I'm not taking you. I haven't taken them at this point.
You don't like the Canadiens? What?
Go Leafs, go! Even though the Leafs got beaten by the Canadiens and they got. But I'm not ever going to pick the Canadiens. It's like me picking Brad Marchand for Player of the Week. It's never going to happen. So I do have Vegas, and I think Vegas is going to shine a light on what the Canadiens really are, and they're going to take away their will to compete. And so I got Vegas in 5 in this series, Nick.
Yeah, I have Vegas as well. I think they're just too complete of a team right now for the Montreal Canadiens to stop. But I have it going at least 6, and I think I have it 6 because of how good Carey Price has played so far in the playoffs, and he's playoff Price right now. Like, when Price is locked in, he's the best goalie on the planet, and I will fight you every day for that statement. If he's locked in, he is the best goalie on the planet. I don't care how good Vass is. So he's going to win them a game or two. He might even win them 3, and this might go 7. I have it in 6 because I think that's more realistic right now. But I could also see it going 7 and have no problem saying that. I don't think Montreal gets through regardless, but Vegas is through at least 6.
That's why they play the games. So we'll see what happens. And if Montreal knocked off Toronto in 7 games, and they knocked off Toronto. There's no
That's it.
With that, right? They won 4 games. They knocked off a top team in the league. So there's every reason to believe, and they swept Winnipeg. So there's every reason to believe that they have the ability to defeat Vegas here. We just both believe that Vegas is going to be in the Stanley Cup Finals and the New York Islanders are going to be in the Stanley Cup.
And it's so sad, Ryan, that the Toronto Maple Leafs aren't in the 3rd round. Yes, as he has his Vegas. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah,
but it's so sad, Ryan, that the Leafs aren't in the 3rd round because they would have been the home team.
Against Tampa, though, and that's...
They still would have been a home team.
That's an if and not even worth talking about.
But they would have been a home team.
They couldn't have gotten out of the 1st round. I don't even want to talk about that. That's not even worth mentioning you because that team.
I can't wait to have this offseason conversation where we try to recreate the Leafs for next year because you are just going to be so vocal and it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
All right, Nick, we're going to take another break here, grab some more coffee. And then when we come back, we're going to be looking at the 7 most important awards as deemed by me in the NHL Awards.
As deemed by me.
Looking at the nominees. And
Don't you mean?
Don't I mean what? Sorry, Nick?
Don't you mean just the Ryan Awards? It's not even the NHL Awards anymore. These are just the Ryan Awards. He actually has his own final 3 for all of them, too. We'll find out later, guys.
I'm going to email plaques to all my
Just an email. Congratulations.
It's a mass email, not even a personalized email.
Yeah, just the
mass
7 winners.
Just, I won't even know their email, just like, oh, okay, c.mcdavid@edmontonoilers.com. Give it a shot, see what happens. So,
God.
Our predictions for NHL award winners are coming right up after this. We're back. 20 minutes on ice. Ryan Hazlitt, Nick McVicker. It is time now, Nick, to look at the NHL Awards nominees. Tonight, I believe they even announced Pekka Rinne won the King Clancy Award. I think it was King Clancy or Masterton. But so a few of
Some
the
NHL goaltending award.
not even a goaltending award, just perseverance or dedication.
Oh, was it that one? Oh, okay.
One of those ones, yeah. So it was the one that was eligible to be announced first. Anyways, Pekka Rinne won it. More like a, hey, congratulations on your career. Here's an award on your way out.
I love Rene, so I'm glad he won something. I think he deserves. I think he deserves a lot more credit than he's given sometimes.
Well, he was a fantastic goalie. If he is done, who knows if he's done.
Sure.
Let's start with the top trophy, I guess you could say. And I'm not even going to sit here and pretend it's a debate. McDavid, Matthews, and McKinnon were all nominated for the Hart.
Ryan. It's McDavid. Huge pause. Matthews, McKinnon.
Matthews, McKinnon, because people had to fill out 5 names on their ballot when voting for the trophy. You can't just fill out one name. There's not even a debate here. Connor McDavid's going to win this trophy.
He has to. He has to win this trophy. And let's not diminish what Matthews and McKinnon did. Like, Matthews had a great year. He led the league in goals and would have easily had 50 if he played like 4 more games. Right? Like, this guy was on fire as a goal scorer. But McDavid had more assists than anyone else had points.
That's like Gretzky.
This is Gretzky. It's Gretzky. I was literally just about to say that. I paused too long. It is Gretzky territory, my friend. He's that good of a player, and he deserves it.
105 points, played all 56 games as well. McDavid, like you mentioned, leading. He has won the Rocket Richard Trophy.
You mean Matthews?
Pardon me, Matthews. Yeah, you're right.
You said the wrong M name. There's 3 of them. Good luck.
3 names. What am I supposed to do here? But Nathan McKinnon, just a beast. And almost if you could, I don't want playoffs included in this voting, but if you could include playoffs, all of a sudden McKinnon becomes a real.
He becomes the number 2.
And maybe even you think about number 1 because he was still producing in the second round. It's not even worth really thinking about because it's.
Is it sad that even as a Colorado fan, if we included playoffs, he would still be distinctly number 2 to me?
So you would put him, yeah, if we're including playoffs, he's number 2. You're right. There's no debate there. So I
don't think it's even close, unfortunately.
We're both saying Connor McDavid for the Hart Trophy.
Yep, McJesus wins the Hart Trophy. No problems there.
All right, let's go to the Lady Byng Trophy. This one for me, This was always Gretzky's award when I was growing up, and now it's become, in the last few years, the award that you give to the guy who could have also won the Hart. So your nominees are Jared Spurgeon from the Wild, Jacob Slavin from the Hurricanes, and Austin Matthews from the Leafs. And so I think this goes to Austin Matthews. He had 10 penalty minutes in just in 21 and a half average time on ice. So, and put up 41 goals. So that's exceptional in its own right. So I think by definition that earns you the Lady Bing, but the voting usually goes, oh, this guy is could have won the Hart. So let's give him a kind of a consolation trophy.
Can I just say I'm surprised McKinnon wasn't nominated for this one?
I
Because he
agree.
was last year.
And he won it, right? Because Draisaitl won the Hart, and McKinnon was in that conversation.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, here's the Lady Bing, because you were pretty good.
Well, no, it's not even that. I just think, like, to me, the Lady Bing trophy, and I hate saying this because, like, people used to joke about I was the incumbent Lady Bing winner on every hockey team I played on. It's the guy who has the most fun playing and takes the least amount of penalties. Like, that's always what I thought the Lady Bing was. And I know it's not. Like, I know in my head it's not, but that's how I've always pictured it. Can you tell me anyone who has more fun playing the game lately than Nathan McKinnon? Like, he just always looks happy. Maybe not as much in the Vegas series because he was getting shut down. He was getting a little frustrated. But throughout the season, I have not seen a happier hockey player on the face of the earth. So I just always think he's going to get nominated for the Lady Bing. Regardless, let's focus on this. I'm sorry.
A happy award now?
It just seemed like that for the longest time for me growing up because they're always like the guy who's the most sportsmanlike and doesn't take penalties. And usually you have to be a pretty happy guy not to be taking penalties. Let's be honest. It's the NHL. Guys take penalties and get really pissy. Even when McKinnon was taking penalties last year and this year, he was like joking and smiling in the box. Like he just loves the game. Anyways, not the point. Just that was a side. It's probably going to Matthews. I think I'm going to agree with you there, Ryan, that it's become the just because you're not the MVP award. You were up for the MVP award, but it's not the MVP award.
I mean, Jacob Slavin, by definition, I'm a defensive fan. I've mentioned
I am
that.
too. You know that.
Jacob Slavin for Carolina. I'm just reading the information here. He took one minor penalty all year, and it was for shooting the puck over the glass. So I would give it to him if I'm actually voting on this, which podcasters located in the Toronto area don't get a vote on this trophy.
Damn.
But if I was voting on this, Jacob Slavin would be my pick just because a defenseman who goes the entire season with one puck over glass minor and that's it. That's extremely hard to do. Whereas Matthews isn't necessarily in a position to get lots of penalties anyway. So
yeah, and I mean, I would have been. I'm fine with either of the two defensemen winning it. I just think Matthews will win it because you look at Spurgeon. Spurgeon had 25 points in 54 games for Minnesota, and he took 3 penalties, 3 minor penalties, which is incredible for a defenseman. Anytime a defenseman takes less than 10 penalties in a season, that's incredible to me. Like, I don't know how you do that in the modern game.
For me, defensemen are most prone to penalties just because of the situations that they have.
Because they're the ones who usually don't have the puck.
All right, we're talking about defensemen, so let's get to the Norris Trophy. Your nominees: Adam Fox from the Rangers, Victor Hedman from the Lightning, and Cale Makar from Colorado Avalanche. I already know Nick's picking Makar, so we don't even need to go to him for his predictions on that one.
I'm kind of hurt by that because I'm not.
Oh, okay, all right.
I love Makar. He was not the best defenseman this year.
I agree. Who is your?
You go first. You've let me go first twice. It is now your turn. Go first.
All right, I'm taking Adam Fox. I think Hedman's going to win because some of these trophies, the people who vote on them also take reputation into consideration. But as far as Fox, he was tied for first, or he was first in assists among defensemen, 42, and second in points with 47. And I love this stat in front of me. He was third amongst defensemen in takeaways, which is something that defensemen are supposed to do. So, and it's only his second year, and he's putting up top defensive numbers, elite defensive numbers. So, more stats jumped off the page regarding Adam Fox than they did regarding Victor Hedman. So Adam Fox is actually my pick for the Norris Trophy.
Adam Fox is a very close second for me, which would then put Cale Makar as number 3 because I said he wasn't winning. I have Hedman winning, and the reason is this. He finished second amongst all skaters in power play assist, 6th in power play goals or power play points, and he finished 7th in the entire NHL in average time on ice this year for a team that is now in the semifinals but was 2 points back of the division win, whereas New York didn't make the playoffs.
They missed, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think he did more on a better team as a defenseman that had better players. Don't get me wrong. Fox had an incredible season, one that I don't think anybody expected. This is a guy who kind of came out of nowhere, right, Ryan?
That's why he's nominated. So
Right? If they give it to Fox, I will be super happy. But I think they're going to give it to Hedman because he was on a better team and did more with that, especially on the power play, than what Fox was able to do with a not as good Rangers team.
Next is the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year. This one's another runaway for me, but your nominees are Kaprizov from Minnesota, Nedeljkovic from Carolina, and Jason Robertson from the Dallas Stars. As much as Nedeljkovic had a great season, Robertson had a great season. Kaprizov was always just a little bit better than Robertson every time we did Rookie of the Week during the regular season. So Kaprizov, and he's older too. Some people complain about that. Oh, you should be a certain age if you're Rookie of the Year. No, it's your first year in the NHL, the best league in the world. You should be recognized for being able to jump into that league and succeed. So Kaprizov, let's see here, 27 goals, 51 points versus 45 points for Robertson. So for me, I'm giving the rookie Calder Trophy to Kaprizov.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's Kaprizov's to win. Robertson, great year. He also started a little bit later. I think he didn't start the first couple games or something.
And Dallas COVID outbreak as well.
Yeah, so he got in 51 games. Kaprizov was just consistent throughout the season. Like, there was no down in his season. But let's not forget that he was Robertson has 45 points this season. It's only 6 back of Kaprizov. Like, he had a great year. He also was 1 game away from tying the NHL record for point streak by a rookie, which is held by Clayton Keller, by the way, at 10. I wish Robertson had the same sort of buzz around him that Kaprizov got, but Kaprizov was doing it because he was scoring as opposed to Robertson, who was getting a lot of assists. Like, he had 28 assists. He had more assists than Kaprizov had goals, and yet we're talking about Kaprizov being the runaway, which is kind of crazy to think in my head.
Yeah, I wonder if playoffs or making the playoffs comes into consideration here.
It might. And that's why I also think Nedeljkovic is probably going to be second. I don't think Robertson actually finishes second. I think he finishes third because Nedeljkovic looked so good in the regular season, but he took another step in the playoffs, and I know playoffs shouldn't come into play, but depending on when the votes were, if it was midway through the first round.
No, your votes have to be mailed in before the playoffs start.
Okay, so then no, okay, then in that case, Robertson will probably finish second, but Nedeljkovic will be a close third if that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the information that the NHL sent out, Nedeljkovic started the year on the taxi squad. He ends up
rightfully so, by the way, because he wasn't the number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Finishes with a 1.9 goals against average, 932 save percentage. Those are phenomenal stats. Excellent stats. So
in 23 games, it's not even like he was played 10 games. He played 23 games.
Yeah, he earned it. He took care of it. He's my number 2, and Kaprizov is my number 1. We're talking about goaltending, so let's do the Vezina Trophy. Nick, your nominees: Fleury, Grubauer, Vasilevsky. I'm taking the terrific story this year. I've said it before. Marc-Andre Fleury. He was the best goalie on the best team. He won. He kept the puck out of the net. He had 6 shutouts, 928 save percentage, third in the NHL in wins, and a 198 goals against average on the season. For me, Marc-Andre Fleury is my Vezina winner.
And Fleury is a great shot. I love Marc-Andre Fleury. We've talked about that. He is one of my favorite goaltenders of all time just because he has a personality.
And he did this in a season where Vegas clearly wanted to go with Lehner, and injuries helped prevent that. But the contract situation also clearly said, all right, thanks, Fleury, for everything you've done. And once again, a team is booting you for a different guy. And he was like, no, I'm going to put up Vezina numbers. Try it now.
Yeah, and it's kind of insane to think that. He's not my winner though. And you're gonna call me a homer, but it's really not a homer pick if you look at the stats. It's Philip Grubauer in my opinion, and not by much. I think all three of these goalies could win this trophy. I'm saying that right now. They all deserve something. They're not all going to get something, but they all kind of deserve something. But Grubauer was second in wins, second in goals against average, both personal bests for him, 30 wins and a 1.95 goals against average. He won 30 games in just 40 total appearances in only 39 starts. He also had the second highest winning percentage among goalies who started 5 or more games. And the only person who had a better winning percentage was Jack Campbell because he won his first, 13 games this season and only played in 3 more or something stupid like that. He was 5th in games played, 5th in time on ice, 8th in save percentage. And it wasn't even like he was struggling. Like, the team was injured all throughout the year. They were up and down, and they ended up pulling out the President's Trophy. But, they pulled out the President's Trophy because Grubauer was so good while everyone was hurt. So that's why I think Grubauer wins it, because he led a team that was kind of injury-riddled in the middle of the season to the President's Trophy.
Any one of these goalies, you mentioned it, Nick, any one of these goalies could win, and you wouldn't be like, oh my goodness, what happened there?
Well, yeah, and I think this is the closest Vezina race that we've seen in a long time, or at least that I can remember. Like, there haven't been many close races recently.
For me, this is the closest race of the awards this year. This one's the main event for me. So any three of these could win. It would be very interesting for me, just as a Leafs fan. You're a Leafs fan too, but to see if Jack Campbell gets any 4th or 5th place votes.
Oh, he will. He will.
I mean, he had an excellent season, and I know I'm a Leafs fan. I still think he had
one of the Leafs media members will give him a 5th.
Maybe. And that can happen for any team. But, I mean, I don't think he's in the Vezina conversation, as he's clearly not. But I think there's, he could get some action on 4th and 5th place votes. So that'll be interesting from a Leafs perspective to see where he ends up. The next trophy that we're going to look at, best defensive forward. So you have to excel on both ends of the puck. This is the Selke Trophy. We have Barkov from Florida nominated, Bergeron again.
Our Florida guy.
Boston nominated, and Mark Stone from the Vegas Golden Knights nominated. Nick, I was looking at this information here, and maybe it's because we've been following the Florida guys this season. I feel like Bergeron's here on reputation. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be here, but the reason why he is here is because reputation contributed to it. Same with Stone, reputation contributed to it, along with stats. But Barkov, he's got a reputation too.
I was gonna say hasn't he been a nominee like 3 years?
Yeah. I'm not saying he might be here by reputation, but just because we've followed him all season, I'm inclined to give Barkov my Selke nod here.
And you wouldn't necessarily be argued, but I think Bergeron wins this, unfortunately. I just think Bergeron is the definition of Selke. I know that it's he's tied right now for most career Selke nominations with, I'm going to blank on the name. Tell me, Ryan.
Bob Gainey.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nominations or wins?
Wins.
Okay.
He's tied for most wins with Bob Gainey.
4.
Bob Gainey won the first 4. Bergeron's won 4 throughout his career. But like you could rename this the Patrice Bergeron Award and no one would question it. Like it's just he's so good at it. I like Stone as well. I think Barkov is second, but this is Bergeron's to lose in my opinion. And I think he breaks the record. I think he sets a new record for most Selke wins in a career.
I think all three of these players are excellent defensive players, almost all equal. And you could insert any one of these three players into your lineup, and they're all going to get the same job done for you on the defensive end. So then maybe it comes down to who does it on the offensive end. And again, I'm leaning towards Barkov, but I believe maybe it's because we were watching them under a magnifying glass this year. So
Just a little.
maybe that's why. All right, our final award that we're going to preview, the Jack Adams Award. This is actually going to be handed out on Thursday. The Selke Trophy is going to be handed out on Friday, and then I believe there's one that's going to be handed out on Saturday as well. But the Jack Adams Award for Coach of the Year going to be handed out on Thursday. Your nominees: Brindamore from Carolina, Evison from Minnesota, Joel Quenneville from Florida. My pick,
Florida. It's in like an AR. Florida.
my pick here is Brindamore. They won the division, so that's huge right there. I guess it kind of contributes to it, but he's brought the Hurricanes into, I guess you could say, an elite team and a very, very good team. He's 3 consecutive playoff appearances, but the big thing for me is winning that division, especially against Tampa Bay. They beat them, not in the playoffs, and Florida, who also showed up and decided they wanted to take the division title. So it was a dogfight, and Carolina came out on top, and so that's why I'm going to give it to Brindamore here.
Yeah, and Brindamore's a great shout. It's hard to argue, but I'm going to because I actually think it's Quenneville. And you mentioned us putting Florida under a microscope. Well, they deserve to be under a microscope because they were a great team this year. And let's not forget that they finished with the last 21 games without their captain and best defenseman by far, Aaron Ekblad, and they won 15 of those games because Quenneville put the system in place that allowed them just to play and not worry about it. They went 15-5-1 in those 21 games, Ryan. Do you know how hard it is for teams to lose their top defenseman and still win 15 out of 21 games to end the year and then push a very good Tampa team in the playoffs? I know it doesn't count. I'm just using that as an example because of how Quenneville coaches. He has figured out how to use this team. And he's figured out how to use the players. The 2 highest point percentages in Florida history, the 2 highest scoring teams in franchise history have been the last 2 seasons under 2 seasons under Joel Quenneville. That's ridiculous.
I also saw the stat that he was able to eliminate half a goal on the goals against average for the team this year versus last year. So.
Which is hard to do when you lose your top defenseman. I mean that plays a factor into Chris Driedger stepping into his own and being a great goaltender this year as well. Like this was the year of the goaltender. Is that just me, Ryan?
I wouldn't say that, but the goaltenders had a good year. But yeah, no, I wouldn't go along with saying this is the year of the goaltender. I thought
year of the breakout goaltender, maybe.
Perhaps, yeah, maybe a changing of the stable.
Yeah.
You know?
So I just feel it feels like goaltenders that we didn't really think about kind of stepped up while some of the older guys still did really well. Like Fleury obviously did really well. Vast did really well. Tuukka Rask had a good year. But it felt like there was a lot more of... Huh?
You say Vasilevsky's 26, 28, 26.
No, I'm saying, but he's been consistent before. Like this wasn't a breakout year is what I mean. Like the old guard, including Vasilevsky and like Grubauer, right? Like these are guys who have done it before. This isn't their first year doing it. But I feel like we had a lot of breakout goaltenders this year. I don't know. It might just be me because I like goaltending when it's going really well, and I've noticed it this year.
Yep. No, you get some good points there, Nick. So definitely some breakout goaltenders, which is always good. It's kind of like the coaching thing, right? You hate to see the carousel, and you like to see people bumped up. Happens less in goaltending, but there we are. Nick, let's get to our players of the week. This will be for the week of June 7th to the 13th. All right, we're going to start off with this is a freaking throwaway for me. It's not even worth doing. We're going to do rookie of the week first. I
I
don't even
argue
know.
that, but you'll know why.
There's not even any notable rookies left. If you had a good 10 minutes, you're going to be our rookie of the week. So with that in mind, my rookie of the week is what's this kid's name? Jeremy Swayman, backup goalie for the Bruins. It doesn't matter. He went 0-1 in 18 minutes and 34 seconds of play. He had a goal against on 3 shots in game 5, I believe. That gives him a 667 save percentage and a 323 goals against average. So, way to go, Jeremy Swayman. You are my rookie of the week.
I know you're not taking this one seriously, Ryan, but I actually think there has been some good rookie performances this week. You can look at Logan Stanley, the 2-goal performance for the Jets. Unfortunately, they lost, but I thought he played really well in that 4th game. Ross Colton looked very good last week for Tampa in 2 games. He had a goal. You could even look at Cole Caulfield, Alex Newhook, who have been thrown into the playoffs and just kind of figuring it out. My rookie, though, is Logan O'Connor from Colorado. This is a guy that I didn't really know a whole lot about, even though he's on one of my favorite teams. He's been in the system, so he was on the Colorado Eagles for most of the year. But he stepped up in this last round, and I thought he played really, really well. For a rookie, he was noticeable, and that's what you want to see from a rookie player. You want to be able to put them into high-pressure situations, and I felt like Logan O'Connor had no problem doing that. He stepped in. He was going hard into the corners. He wasn't taking penalties, really. He was doing what he needed to do to stay in the lineup. And I think he probably earned himself a lineup spot for next year with Colorado based on his performance. I know he didn't put up any points, and I know he was a negative, but so was everybody on Colorado the last 2 games of the series. So not really concerned with that. He played 11 and a half minutes a game as a 4th liner, which is more than most 4th liners play because they kept trusting him and just put him out with the 3rd line a couple times. I was really impressed with Logan O'Connor this week, despite not putting up points. So he is my rookie of the week, and I give him full credit for what he was able to do.
All right, that's a good rookie of the week. Well, from your perspective. So that's
great
good,
explanation,
Nick.
I think. That's what sold it, right, Ryan?
Definitely sold it, Nick. All right, goalie of the week. You can lead us off on this one, Nick.
I got to lead off? That's kind of mean.
Who do you got?
I have Varlamov. He's looked so good this past week. 3 games, 3 wins, 930 save percentage, 233 goals against average. I know he didn't have a shutout, but he played every minute of those 3 games, and they didn't need to pull him because they were ahead in all 3. So he played all 180 minutes, didn't have to go to overtime. Varlamov is my goalie of the week.
It's a good pick, Nick, and I saw him on the list, but whenever I see this next name, I'm usually going in this direction. So
Favoritism.
My goalie of the week is Marc-Andre Fleury, 2-0 in 2 games. He helped eliminate Colorado. He was in the pros column. He was, as opposed to the cons column. He was part of the reason why.
Oh, absolutely.
Was able to eliminate Colorado, and even if there was a weak goal, he bounced back, no problem. He was just absolutely fantastic, exactly what Vegas needs in between the pipes. So he had a 921 save percentage in those 2 games, 5 goals against, as I mentioned, and part of the reason why Colorado was eliminated. Let's go to our player of the week now. Nick, I'm taking Brock Nelson in 3 games. He had 3 goals. 2 of those were game winners, including one of them in game 6, where he had 2 goals in that game. And he was part of the reason why the Islanders pushed past the Bruins in convincing fashion. And when a player shows up in a big game like that, and it's part of the whole package, so
it's noticeable.
Yeah, exactly. It's noticeable. That's why Brock Nelson is my player of the week.
And it's a great shout. I was going to pick Brock Nelson, but you took him, and that's fine. So I'm going with his teammate Josh Bailey, who led the league in points last week. I mean, it was very slim pickings. Most teams played 2 games. Half the teams played 2 games. Half the teams played 3. But Josh Bailey had a goal, 4 assists, 5 points in 3 games, plus 2. He was winning. He was shooting at a 50% clip because he only took 2 shots. So that tells me shoot more. Am I wrong? And he was playing 16 minutes of ice time a game as not a top line player. He was getting some ice time. So you look at that and you look at the way the Islanders have played, and Barzell had 2 goals and an assist. Eberle had a goal and 2 assists. Like they're flying right now. They're going to be really tough to beat for this Lightning team. So it's going to be fun to watch.
Barzal was quiet in that opening round series, and then in the second round series, he, woke up, or the shutdown factor wasn't as big. And sometimes you see a team when something goes up, there's something else that comes down.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say I noticed that with the Islanders. Everything's stayed up. So
I saw a great stat on the broadcast. I don't know if you saw this, Ryan, but they were talking about the Islanders and the players that have shown up in different series over the last 2 years. And it's always different players. Like, they've never had someone lead the team in points in back-to-back series. They find a way to win as a team and lose as a team. Well, not really lose as a team lately. They find a way to win as a team. And it's incredible. Like, I don't think we've seen a full team effort like this in a long time. Like, the Lightning last year, they had their top guys, right? St. Louis had their top guys, let's be honest. Right? Washington clearly had their top guys.
Previously with the Islanders, we knew about this team system, but it was like, okay, when someone's able to break through that team system, or when
They
it
fall apart,
this team's going to fall apart. This year, it very much feels different. Like,
wow, to break through the system. That's what the difference is.
Oh, wow, you got a bunch of troops in front of a brick wall, in front of another brick wall. Like, this is going to take a considerable effort.
You got the infantrymen, you got the tanks in the defense, and then you have the actual brick.
It's going to take a significant effort to get through. So, and that's just where this Islanders Tampa Bay series is going to be so interesting.
It is.
Tampa Bay is going to throw a combo, and the Islanders are going to sit there and dodge it and try and hit you with 100 jabs.
They're going to catch it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just going to catch it and just hold you there while you have to try to figure out how to get out of it.
And then they hit you with some sort of Street Fighter combo, and you're sitting there mashing buttons, not knowing what's going on. And like,
Street Fighter, wow.
All right, Nick, let's fire up the randomizer because we are almost done here. So let's close out the show. You ready to go?
I guess so.
Here we go. Let's do it. Today we are playing Ice Chips, which is our trivia game.
Wow, we haven't played this in a while, Ryan.
Yeah, so we will take turns asking questions, 3 questions each. The first question is intended to be the easiest. It's worth 1 point. And the third question, the last question, is intended to be the hardest. So it's worth 3 points. Sometimes I throw a little theme into my questions. You can choose to follow suit or to not do that at all. So we played it so long ago, I don't remember who went first, but Nick, I'll give you the opportunity.
No, you go first, please, Ryan. You go first.
I will. Fine. If you're conceding,
I am conceding first. I'm letting you go first because I like when you go first. It gives me an idea of how hard I should make my questions.
Let's see. My theme is teams playing in the semifinals.
Okay.
Not necessarily this year's teams, but my questions involve the teams playing in the semifinals. My first question here should be the easiest, but we'll see. We'll see. And I'll give you a big hint. Only one answer of the 3 is from your era. So here we go.
Oh, so it's not teams playing.
It's
not teams playing in the semifinals this year, or is it about the teams playing in the semifinals this year? History.
Yes, you're correct on the second.
Sorry, I'm just like, what do you mean teams in the semifinal, but it's not from my era? What?
The answers are.
Gotcha. Now I got it. Okay, we're good. Now I'm good.
One question. The answer is from your era. Okay, Nick. Should be the easiest question. Who has the most goals in a single season for the New York Islanders?
For the New York Islanders?
New York Islanders. Most goals in a single season.
I mean, it has to be. I'm just going to ask this because I'm curious if I'm even on the right track because I don't actually know the answer to this question, Ryan. Is it from their cup winning era?
Yes.
Yeah. Then I don't know.
You don't know who their goal scorer was?
No, not a clue. I should. And when you say the name, I will, but I don't know.
No, not the guy. Number 22?
Nope.
Mike Bossy.
Bossy. Yeah. See, like I know the name. I don't know why I didn't know Bossy was on the Islanders.
He had 69 goals in 78, 79. Oh, we should remind people we are not using our
No.
Google to look up answers here. This is a straight up competition. All right, Nick, what's your first question?
All right, Ryan. Position players. So my topic is teams that we talked about today / award nominees.
All right.
Okay, so it's all relative to what our today conversation was. Out of the 4 teams that are still remaining, which rookie skater has the most time on ice per game?
That's your first question.
It's kind of obvious. Just because there's not many rookie skaters still playing.
It's not obvious to me.
I know. But neither was your question one, so
Rookie skaters. Oh, Tampa Bay has a guy. Couldn't tell you if any rookies on the Islanders. Rookies on the Golden Knights. This is your first question?
okay, I can come back to it if you want. We can make
wait.
that my second question because my second question you might get a little bit easier.
Oh, we're talking rookies. It's fairly obvious. So let's go with Montreal. Who's it going to be between the two of them? No, he's not a rookie. Cole Caulfield.
No, he's actually third in time on ice among rookies, technically still in the playoffs.
Who is it?
He's behind his teammate Jake Evans, who's number 2, but the number 1 is Zach Whitecloud from the Vegas Golden Knights, the defenseman. Or sorry, the winger. No, he's a defenseman. He is a defenseman.
Didn't even know he was a rookie. How about that?
1740 time on ice for a rookie defenseman. Not bad.
Good question, but you knew that wasn't in my wheelhouse. I thought you were going to get Bossy on my question. Whatever. Here we go. Maybe question number 2 is easier for you, Nick.
We'll see. I doubt it.
Montreal Canadiens
Montreal
has the most points in a single season for the Montreal Canadiens.
Most points in a single season?
Yes, for the Montreal Canadiens.
Ooh. I got 2 names in my head.
Didn't get Bossy on the first one. Let's see if he gets this one.
This isn't the one from my era, right?
There's only 2 questions left. I can't really, for the sake of helping you, no, this guy's not from your era.
I'm going to go Beliveau.
Not John Beliveau. The answer is Guy Lafleur, who had 100,
He was my other one.
136 points and 76, 77.
Oh, the history of the Canadiens is incredible. Some of the players that they had. Oh. I could have listed like 5. Like I could have gone either of the Richards, Lafleur, Beliveau. I had Koivu kind of roaming around in my head. Not because I thought he was a big point getter, just because I just remember him being always around. Like,
Yeah.
so
they
many
haven't
great
had-
players.
They haven't had that upper,
Killer instinct.
yeah, the good for 100 points every season guy. Maybe except for Vincent Damphus, Pierre Turgeon, that kind of era, which may
Turgeon too. Yeah.
before you. So, all right, Nick. Second question from you. I did trash on the first one, so I can't wait to see what the second one is.
I feel like you're gonna get this one, but
Okay, we'll see.
our 3 Jack Adams Award nominees have one thing in common that I can name in my head.
Yeah,
What is it?
they all played for the same franchise.
That should have been number 1, clearly.
Well, you know what? I only knew that because I read the awards booklet. I wouldn't have gotten it. Quinville and Evison played for Hartford. I believe they were even teammates.
Yeah, they were teammates in the 80s. They were longtime teammates in the 80s, actually.
There you go. And Brendan Moore played for the Carolina Hurricanes, who, of course, formerly were the Hartford Whalers. Good question there. Nick, 2 points to me. But
Yay for Ryan.
You can steal it here. So this guy is from your era, but I really don't have a lot of faith that you'll get this.
Oh,
But
good. Thanks. Love you.
supposed to be my tricky one. I thought Lafleur and Bossy were going to be the easy one, so I went a little harder here with my third question. Who has the most points in a single season for the Vegas Golden Knights?
For the Vegas Golden Knights?
Yeah. Most points in a single season. There's a reason why it's the number 3 question.
I know Carlson had the most goals the one year.
That was, their first year.
Their first year.
Okay, so it was from that season. There's a little hint.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think, who was his center? It was the center, right?
I don't know the lines, so I can't say. I don't think this guy is a center, but don't take my word for that because I can't be confident.
Because I think he was on that team with Carlson, and he was the assist guy for Carlson. That's my guess.
Who are you going with?
I'm thinking. I
was thinking when I had to, I'll be honest, I had to look up this question to get
You said
question.
points, right?
Points. I'm not talking goals. I'm not talking assists.
Screw it. I'm going Carlson because I can't think of who was giving him assists. So I'm just going with the goal guy.
Good guess, but it wasn't Carlson. 50 points in that inaugural season for David Perron. David Perron with 50 points in that inaugural.
When was their inaugural season?
17-18. You want to go to the judges?
I kind of do. Because I think Carlson had 47 goals.
Ooh, here we go. Nick is, maybe he won the Cy Young. I don't know. Nick is Googling. We're on
Vegas
pause.
Golden Knights 2017, 2018. Hockey reference. So this is where I'm getting the stat. William Karlsson had 78 points that year.
Wow, okay. So I was wrong.
And Jonathan Marchessault was the guy that I was trying to remember, had 75.
Wow, okay. So my information was wrong. Now you can't even trust me on the Lafleur or Bossy thing.
I trust you. I just think you might have read it wrong. Perron had 66 points that year. He was 12 back.
You've proven me wrong. I've embarrassed myself. You've earned.
I was just gonna say, like, there's no way because I know so I was wrong. Carlson had 43, but I thought he had 47, and you said 55. I'm like, there's no way he only had 8 assists. Like, it's just not possible.
Yeah, for knowing that my stat was wrong, you should get the 3 points. But I do.
Well, I was right anyway.
You were right. 3 points for you, Nick. Good for you.
Wow, I can't believe I got that one. Thank you, folks. I'm gonna retire now, but Ryan still has a chance here.
I almost should give back my 2 points if I couldn't win the game here. Here we go.
All right, Ryan. I'm sticking with Jack Adams Award nominees. All 3 guys played in the NHL. Who hasn't won a Stanley Cup?
Has not won a Stanley Cup. I'll say Everson, because Brindamore won it as a player with the Hurricanes, and Quinville won it as a coach with the Blackhawks. So Everson, Hartford Whalers never won a cup, and he hasn't won a cup as a coach. So Dean Everson is my pick for that question.
Correct.
3 points, but I do have to live with the fact that I tried to present false information.
He falsified his information, folks.
Falsified my own documents. So, all right, there we go, Nick. That was the horn that brings an end to this 20 Minutes on Ice. Be sure to subscribe to the show, and if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button. That really helps us out. Plus, also subscribe to the Garage Door Sports Network and hit the bell icon so you get notified when new videos go up. You can follow me on Twitter at Ryan_H16. Follow Nick on Twitter at Nick McVicker. The show's on Twitter and Instagram at 20 Minutes on Ice. You can also head on over to garagedoorsports.com, find us and all the other network shows under the shows tab. We will be back live next week, again, on Twitch, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, usually on Sundays. Depends how we're feeling. Maybe it's a Monday sometimes.
We're going to aim for Sunday. Aim for Sunday.
Cars driving towards Sunday. Until then, thanks for listening. Goodbye, everybody.